I know he didn't win the event, but one of the most exciting things that's worth talking about in MK1 this week, the player race.
Oh, yeah. That was a lot of fun, and I think you had a lot more fun with it than most.
I've got a big smile on my face remembering.
I know what you want to talk about.
Yeah, I think you know what I want to talk about.
And
it's little Cinderella story, and I wouldn't mind being the one finding that glass shoe at the finish line as player flies by in his pumpkin chariot, and
well, we're all. I mean, yeah, I know. I mean, Marky Mark, he kind of leaked the news of that. Disney's working on a Cinderella story, and I know when you heard about that, you just immediately got out your notepad and you've been writing. You've been writing nonstop, so I know you've kind of
I'm beside you on the plane. I'm writing nonstop.
So I guess I think you've made a lot of progress with players. So I think it's okay if you want to kind of indulge the listeners with sort of some of the stuff you've been working on, and maybe who knows, Disney might take some of these ideas.
I'll give you some footnotes on it. I'm trying to work on something that when we have player on here someday, that we can actually do lines on. So I think that having a little scene with me and him playing, but I think some of the fun thing. So you're in the
movie is what you're thinking?
I think that could be fun. I mean, I don't see why I can't be in any of the movies, but I'd have to audition, but I know player and we could get it. But some of the ideas I have for the player movie, I'm thinking about this glass shoe, for example, being a glass car, and he's got a tube sort of top that's into a skirt. So it's not the classic, because he's got those beautiful long legs. So it's not the classic dress you think of Cinderella where it's down to the floor and it's very classic. This is your modern Cinderella, and he's got those big, beautiful long legs finally showing. Meanwhile, he's got the glass bottom car, and this is key because I'm a mechanic who works under the car. So you see where I'm going. I'm seeing the legs.
Why would the bottom of the car be glass?
Like it's like the glass shoe, but he was a Cinderella on the track, and he slips perfectly into the car. Other men try and fit in this car. They don't have the legs for it. They can't reach the pedals. So
you're the mechanic. You built this car. You built this insanely long glass bottom car.
You've
been trying to find racers for it, and they're all too short. And players in a tube top, naked beneath the skirt, and his legs just fit just right. And you're kind of working as he slides in.
I never thought about that angle, but I'm going to have to do some rewrites. But the idea of the mechanic as the fairy godmother, that'd be the perfect role for me.
So you're the fairy godmother.
Well, if I'm creating the car.
But I don't think.
If I'm creating the car.
But that's not going to be the love interest that you want it to be. Because we're all. Fairy.
You know what? It's less about me. I've moved on from physically receiving the love to just being involved in it, facilitating the love in his life. Well, and I'm not talking about watching. I'm talking about being the fairy godmother. I'm saying, go out and win that race. Get the love of the public.
Why would the car be glass and him in a skirt? Why was those details so specific and that you're working under the car?
Because it's a fun thing for people to see. I mean, they're seeing and imagine the camera. First off, they're going to see me slide under. Then they're going to see what I see. And it's not necessarily about me seeing it. So I need to be under there because the legs need to be so long in order to make the car work. And I'm going under for many men. It's not just for player. We have a line of men who are testing out this car to see if it works.
Do they have to be in skirts and tube tops?
They're all wearing tube top skirts. One tube top.
What is a tube top skirt? Those are two different things.
It's a long tube on their body. So it's going to be very sexy, very revealing.
Yeah, I get that.
And we've got a line of them going out of the block. And the one person who's towering over them is player.
You should be able to tell that. Like, they don't need to all slide into the car. You could just
Perks of the job.
You could pick the tallest as they stand there.
There's other things
you
about the
see,
car
like,
you need to fit in perfectly. I mean,
players like-
these are tall men. I'm not saying that I'm getting guys who are too short, but I'm just saying, like, these are all gorgeous men. They got long legs and their tube top skirts, and they're walking towards the car, and I'm checking them out, and they're getting in, and I'm going under for a little check on the system, and I'm saying those feet aren't reaching the pedals quite right. So we'll workshop this a little bit more, and I think that I've got a cool idea here. And you know, after I saw what Disney did with Cars 4 and how sexual that was, I thought, why not take it up a notch?
I mean, it's just insane that we got here from player has one race, and I thought to myself, he wins his first race. I thought to myself, I'm glad Mike's in a better spot, because that could have set him off
I am
the
in a better
rails.
spot, yeah.
Well,
I'm in a really good
talking
spot
about-
right now.
many men in tubes.
Yeah, many men in tubes getting into my beautiful glass car. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun to have a player in the studio and kind of, talk about this.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
sure what he's gonna think about it.
It'll be fun to do the scene through. I think that'll be a lot of fun for him, and I think it might finally, you don't have to pitch to the execs if you've got the star on board. So I think that might be fun too.
I'm worried where this is gonna go, but I'm looking forward to it as well.
Excellent.